Hey everyone, thanks for checking in the video tonight. Today is Wednesday, May 1st, 2013. Let's get right into the SPY. First thing I'd like to point out that I did try to call out a short here if you guys want to trade like that. I actually did pick up some SDS right at the highs here. It's a very good risk reward. Sure enough, you're getting a nice drop. If you look at the SDS, I did pick up some nice shares right here yesterday at the low when I was making intraday bullish pattern. I'll show you that pullback that I basically on a bull flag, a bullish inside bar right here, guys, right into this spot here. The pattern somewhat failed intraday. It got a little bounce here, but I knew this was on the daily chart that this was going to be major support, so I didn't mind getting in. It was actually right here. Excuse me, right here at the end of the day, right here in this nice bar. Nice consolidation, sure enough, and once again it did fail, but there again there was the gap up in the morning, and it took profits right at the 200 moving average here, beautifully, and that coincides with the SPY pulling back into the 200 moving average intraday, and I also took that. That's right here. I also took that intraday for a scalp. But let me go back to the daily chart and stop jumping around. Let's look at the bigger time frame daily chart and see where we're going first on a bigger scale. Looks like we are still holding this consolidation pattern, but notice the pickup in volume here. So is this the saying sell in May and go away? The start of it? We'll know. We'll see what happens. The volume is picking up on the downside off today's jobs number, and pretty much closed at the lows of the day. Closed right at the gap fill. So we'll see. Have to hold this area. I always like to hold 382 retraces. Right now it's holding 25% retrace, but let's see if it can hold this low. If we start, the next level is obviously at 157.70. This pivot and this lower gap fill candle. We did hit the body of the gap fill candle today, so let's see where we trade tomorrow. To stay bullish, you want to stay this. You want to keep this above the 20 moving average, sloping up with the 382 retrace. Okay, and with the Feds continuing to buy bonds right now, it's hard to think negative for this market. You gotta give the upside bias to the trend. Okay, let's look to the intraday chart. Had a beautiful scalping day to the 200 moving average, and that's where I took profits on the SDS, which is 2 times short the S&P 500. Right here, beautifully, guys, straight into a 200. The E-mini futures actually made an exact tag of the 200 on that chart, so I did take a scalp there on the E-mini and took profits right in the third candle. Right here, got a little bit more upside, but the VWAP was right there. That's the volume average price. So pretty much I took profits right there, and that was the right choice because we consolidated up on that level and then ultimately failed. And we retested. You don't never take on a second hit on the 200, so we went right through that without any kind of bounce. So that was the right thing to do. Never take second hits, always first hits. It was also a double bottom here. It was close to a double bottom, so I knew there was support here. And also, it did actually come to double bottom and actually got a nice bounce here as well. So a double bottom from yesterday's low. It's always important support for the previous day, next day. I'm sorry. And we did pierce it, made a nice little retracement here into these moving averages, and retested the 200. Never confirmed above 200, and we went right down. You can call this maybe a zigzag ABC right here, 1, 2, 3 pattern. Measured move comes out right to the 25% retracement with a gap fill from a few days ago right here. The lower gap fill candle actually went to this pivot here and staged a nice little bounce. So let's see if this holds. Right now, not too bad on the daily chart. I mean, you're just seeing some sideways action, but the word of caution is this volume, though, is picking up. So we like to see, if you're bearish, you like to see some increased volume, red bars, and take out this low. If you're bullish, you want to see some lighter volume, green bars that's going sideways here, and not take out these lows right here and stay above the 20 moving average and a 382 retrace. That's what you want to see. That's what you want to see if you're bullish and you want to see constructive movement. Okay, that's what I got in the SPY. Pretty much got a nice bounce here off the Fed statement here. It looked like this was going to be the low of the day, but sure enough, wow, we had one more leg down. There's just more fears creeping in this market. Okay, guys, so let's see the next chart. Let's go to Apple, actually. Apple is actually could be a change of character, guys. I've been saying this on the daily chart that we actually closed nicely above the 200, the 50 moving average, and look at last time we kind of did that as well. So we need follow through. That's what we're looking for here. Notice that the 50 is still sloping down. So I always consider it's guilty until proven innocent. You are consolidating above this red line. You kind of just make it more accurate here. We're still consolidating above that, so we've got to see some constructive movement above this red line and this 50 moving average. Okay, if you can start doing that, let this 50 green line start to flatten out. See, it's more flattened than here. See, and it kind of just crashed down. But now after this pickup in volume, see the volume's actually kind of picking up these up days. So, but this does need some time to digest this recent move. Okay, so I'm not touching it right now. I do think it's headed higher in the short term, in the near term, and long term actually now, because we did hit macro support. Look at the 200 week moving average right here. Pretty much tagged it. So we've got a reversal candle. Call these all out, guys. Watch my previous video. It's always fun to watch and look back and just nailing these calls. Called for a reversal bar here in the weekly chart, and actually on the monthly chart as we start a new month. What do we have, guys? I'll sit here and just wait for you guys to call it out yourselves. What do you see on the monthly chart? Pretty intriguing stuff, huh, guys? Sure is. That is a hammer candle right there, guys. On a time count as well. Look how we ended. Look how we topped out. Okay, you guys just gotta look at all these time frames. Look how we topped out on the monthly chart. What is that? Inverse hammer. What do you want to call it? Inverse hammer candle, whatever you want to call it. And now we're getting a hammer candle here on this low on 7 candles. And usually the markets will use move in numbers. It's a pretty much specific algorithm that markets would like to move in, and that's just one of the numbers the markets would like to move in. And sure enough, we are getting a nice hammer print, and let's see if we can follow through. I think pretty much the low is in, so I'm just waiting for a nice pullback, waiting for a pattern to go long this stock. But right now, it's nothing to do right now. I mean, if you're buying short-term weekly options, you're just gonna get screwed by the institution. They're just gonna play the time decay game and just take all the premium from you. So right now, you just want to wait for a nice pattern to go long. And like I said, you want to see it hold above ultimately 420 if you want to get a lower price. But what you really want to see is just some sideways bars, nice angle to go long. Maybe time count as well into maybe the 20. But ultimately, you'd like to see it hold the 20 and the 50 here. Okay, and you want to start these. The 10's already starting to slope up. See that's bullish. The 20 is starting to become more more of a straight line. Actually, it's actually coming up now. See, and see, look at last time when this one it didn't make enough constructive movement above the 50 and it crashed down. And actually, the 20 was curling up with the 10. So that's why traders have to wait for a nice pattern. See, people that were jumping the gun here were screwed pretty much as it crashed down. See, don't let that happen to you again. Let it bake in the oven. Let it consolidate here above the 50 and the 20 and all these moving averages. Let them curl. Let them curl up. Stay above this red line, perhaps. Maybe it back tested here. Let that set up. Okay, guys, don't rush anything. Okay, that is Apple. Let's go to Amazon. Amazon. I've been calling the Amazon. There's nothing really to do unless you're going to play it short. And now we're actually getting a nice fall on Amazon. I'm prepared if we do hit this pivot, like I've been saying, 420, 242. I will go ahead and look to sell some options below this next week and see how that all plays out. But right now we do have a nice breakdown on Amazon. Check this out. If you draw this across, this is another I don't know where this other trend line came from, but pretty much right into that trend line. But it is a breakdown because we went to gap fill and that failed, and now we're going to go to the next level, it seems like, which is the this pivot low here with this gap fill candle. Let's look at a weekly chart, see if we can see any other more bigger time frame support. I believe that would be right here. So we are into some support here with the 50-week moving average. So this could hold this area. I would say this area would hold easily for the week, but I don't think there's any premium left to go. I don't think it's worth it because I think ultimately the target is 220, but it's going to take some time to get there. We're going to get some bounces on the way before it gets there, but ultimately 228, 227 to 220 right here. This is your target off this measured move off this pattern here. Okay, guys, it's a three falling top pattern, and pretty much it's not confirmed yet, but we have to see where it closes for the week because we'd like to see it close below the 50-week moving average. Let's go to GLD. I haven't checked that out in a while. That's the weekly candle right there, the print of the hammer candle. I called that out also. What I suspect, we're pulling back off the 20 after a major drop, and we're starting to have a downtrend, so not surprised there. And we're catching support off the 10, so it's pretty much smashed between these two moving averages. Not much going there in gold. What else? I take a look at Let's look at Facebook. I actually traded Facebook beautifully for some premium again for on earnings. Once again, this is kind of what happened with Apple. Um, they just institutions kind of just stuck the stock right in the middle of the market makers and just collected all the premium from both sides of the market, on the put side and the call side. I wasn't going to be, going long or short with calls. I was actually selling options below these levels. I sold a 24, 2350 ish area below this pivot. What I was seeing on open interest on the call and put side. So that was a beautiful trade. Collected a beautiful amount of premium there. The premium was really pumped nicely for this trade. It's making a nice little kind of. You can make a case it's a a wedgish pattern, and it's kind of forming a bottom here off this. But you gotta look at the bigger time frame. What is it actually doing on the bigger time frame? All this is going up and then sideways. So right here up and then sideways action. You like it to see hold this pivot here made in 2012, and it is doing that. And it looks like we're just continuing to consolidate here, okay, guys? And so that's a beautiful thing. Collected a beautiful amount of premium on Facebook. So that was a great trade. What else do I want to take a look at? I know there's something else. I gotta start writing these symbols down instead of always just going by ear. Amazon, Apple, the price line. I always kind of take a look at that now. Price line, not much going there. Still holding that trend line. Oh, it looks like it's a nice little fade, pullback, and this is kind of a nice pattern to a gap fill here. Let's in off this trend line. Let's see if we get a bounce here. Not the optimal setup that I like to trade, as you can see, but nonetheless, it is right at this trend line. So let's see how it stages, how it reacts at that trend line over there. Let's look at. I think that's pretty much everything I want to look at. I don't think. What else did I trade to? I know there's something else I was looking at. Cannot think of it right now. Just take a quick few looks at the Qs. Yeah, right at the top of that trend line. Not much going there. So as you can see, this market is topping. We're overbought on the stochastics. I don't use stochastics or anything like that, but we are overbought here. Another thing on SPY, I did notice that there's a divergence, a negative divergence on price and the MACD. I always like to look at that in a bigger picture. So I guess I'll close on this. So that's the reason why I took the SDS short, guys. Let me make this MACD bigger. I don't look at MACDs much, and you guys probably think I'm crazy because I don't know it's a very common indicator. But if you look at the MACD, we're making higher prices, but the MACD is making lower. Okay, lower highs here. Okay, if you look at this, you look at this pivot. You made a high, and price made a new high in SPY, but the MACD made a lower high. Okay, that's always a negative divergence, and that's always to tell you the big boys are getting out in this distribution. Okay, guys, so that's just one side note to look at, just to be on the word of caution there, guys, and I'll leave you guys with that. So is this distribution, or is this another consolidation move to go higher? Okay, that's the big question. The head and shoulder pattern is broken now because we did make a new high intraday, so we did poke through that, but it still could be a double top. This could be still an M top right here, so it's pretty much the same measured move, so it doesn't really make any difference. It's not a head and shoulder, but it's still a W. M top. Okay, so it's still target. What I'm seeing would be to this 148 level. If it does start hitting these levels, I would start selling some puts below the 200 moving average. Okay, guys, that's the video for today, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you guys have a great one. I had a great one. Hope to finish the week out strong with a few more days of trading, but so far so good. This week's been better than last, so I'm very proud of that. Very happy. So hope you guys are doing well, traded it well. I will talk to you guys tomorrow.